Welcome, family, Soul Tribe, Starry family. Happy Portal Day. It is 7/7/22, July 7th. And we are so grateful to have you here for the Mystic Mastermind, Cultivating Intuition. And I have the beautiful butterfly Brielle here with us this evening, as well as Paul Temple. And I would like each of them to just take a moment and introduce themselves before we get started with the transmission that we have to share with you tonight. So, Brielle, would you like to share a little bit about who you are being in the world?
Yes, thank you. Wow. Thank you so much for having me today, Anastara. I am a soulful earth warrior and I am a butterfly oracle. I definitely have many different skills and capacities and things I'm interested in life. And so labels are challenging for me. And I will just say that what am I most of all? A sovereign, divine, feminine earth warrior here to make change on the planet at this time and here to help amplify healing frequencies in a number of different ways. It has been a really wild journey, and I'm so grateful to be the associate producer for the 1111 Unified community. As of recently, we retitled me for this year, and I'm really excited to really step into that role with this community. When I was considering like which mastermind should I present with, this is the one that really stuck out to me as the portal date that I personally feel most connected to. The numbers 2 and 7 and 7 and 2 have been my personal lucky numbers for a very long time. I've always seen that number 27 or 2772 throughout my life, and it has been a guiding number for me for a very long time. I feel very connected to the lucky magic and the spiritual nature of the number 7 specifically. And I was actually born at 2:17 p.m. in the afternoon. And so that's why this particular mastermind was the one for me. And my voice and my message amongst two of my biggest heroes, honestly, and two of my teachers. And so I feel really honored to get to share this space, and specifically today. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, such a blessing to have you here, sister. Thank you.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. And Paul, I've known online for a little over a year now, is when we had our first interview. And then I recently got to meet him in person when I was in Boulder. I went to the Double Rainbow Ranch where he and his partner live, and I had a beautiful sound healing from him with Andrew. And we got to finally meet in person and hug and feel each other's energies. So, Paul, can you please share a little bit about who you're being in the world?
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for having me be part of this wonderful circle of our old soul connections here.
Yeah.
As you said, I am in Boulder, Colorado on an amazing sanctuary called Double Rainbow Ranch. And I kind of have two channels of work that are coming through me now. The first, as you said, is Radiance Matrix. Radiance Matrix is the music project of this beautiful set of Tibetan bowls here that I will be playing later. And I've been doing that particular project since 2014. And then about 2 years ago, that started to evolve to another level where the bowls and my intuitive guidance, I have a guide named Al Thor, started to tell me that, yeah, there's this body of teachings that you need to bring out. And that project is called the Diamond Light Network. The Diamond Light Network the teachings really are to help us humans remember the great power of the human heart. And it's not the anatomical heart, it's not the heart chakra, it is the energy center of the heart that we call the pearl of light that connects us into the grid of creation with our own intuitive guidance. And there's a series of practices and exercises that have come with this. But cultivating intuition is an important part of that. I teach it quite regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my main presence in the world, is bringing those two both transformational vibrational energies out to humanity to help us remember who we really are.
Beautiful. Love it. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Anastara Maka. I'm the mother of 1111 Unified, and I've been working with Brielle for over 2 years now. And she's an associate producer, not just a marketing director for 1111 Unified. And really what it comes down to is I've been in the healing arts most of my life. Ever since I was a teenager, my mother said I would be a great massage therapist. And then I went to massage school, and then I started the whole tumbleweed of theta healing and aromatherapy and sound healing, acutonics, and the resonance project with Nassim Haramein, and just so many different programs and certifications that I feel like are my tool belt. And that tool belt, I can pull a lot of things out of. And we have what we call our core values and our guiding principles for 1111 Unified Network. And a big part of that is consciousness, awakening, and intuition. And so I've been learning about intuition on my own life path, and recently have gone through some major moments in my life, including a big car accident about 3 weeks ago that I'll be sharing with you later during my shares, that really, really taught me to just listen to my intuition wholeheartedly and to not say no to it anymore. And especially as a woman and a mother, that empathic, intuitive nature has just been increasing more and more. I'm in my 47th rotation around the sun, and I feel like I have a lot of wisdom that I've gained through my experiences, and I'm just so happy to be here and share it with all of you. So if you can do me a favor and just throw in the chat, what brought you here? Why are you excited to be here? How did you hear about it? We just want to see a little bit, some interaction from y'all before we all sit back and just drop into our opening meditation and visualization. So just let us know, like, what brought you here? What was the activating thing? What was the thing that inspired you to be present this evening? I would love to see some of that. My intuition guided me, Clarity said. I love it. Yes, universal alignment, of course. Yes, the 7/7 and then 7 p.m. for Pacific time people, right? So, we're all been brought here for our own reasons. And I want to just drop us into the present moment with a heart lock-in technique. So we have previous online events and ceremonies. Anita, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Anastar invited me. I'm big on listening to my heart and guidance always. This is life on purpose. This is life purpose. Yep, Donna, you sure are. She's a frequency mama. So grateful to have each and every one of you here. And we all create a star constellation when we come together in these masterminds. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, but they are all perfect. So let's just drop into a heart lock-in technique. This is something I've learned from the Heart Math Institute. And even though I haven't gone through their higher levels of education program, I have been given permission by the Heart Math Institute to share this with others. So just take a moment, if you can close your eyes, if you can put your hand on your heart, whatever you're most comfortable doing, but we're just going to drop into our breath and the awareness of our breath. You want to feel your chest expand as you inhale. Contract as you exhale. I'm going to let go of everything that it took to get you here. And release everything that you have to do in the future, and just drop into the present here and now. Begin to feel the renewing energies of love, care and compassion, kindness, acceptance, and empathy. And feel those renewing energies circle and cycle inside your heart, filling it with light. You can begin to feel the radiance of your heart illuminate within your body and begin to fill your entire body with light. You might have a place you want to direct that light to, an injury or a pain or a tingle. Just send light to yourself right now. And begin to radiate that energy out beyond your body into your ethereal fields around you. Making your bubble of light even larger, expanding it into the room that you're in or the space that you're in. Begin to share that energy with your family. Visualize your family, your beloveds. Begin to surround your community with this light energy out into the divine matrix, into the unified field. And then begin to envelop our human family, our starry family here together, light workers, during this pivotal moment in human awakening. And then expand that field even to envelop and surround our mothership Gaia. Pulsating that love and that compassion out to her right now. Imagining the light grid around the entire planet illuminating. Thank you, Creator Source Energy, for the transmission that we are about to receive. May it be clear and concise and beautiful, and loving and compassionate. May the tools come through to share with everyone here for the highest and best good, the highest and best for all, for always. Thank you. And so it is, so shall it be. Blessed be. You can begin to open your eyes and come into this present moment again. Ooh, okay, let's move our bodies for a moment. Maybe wiggle your fingers and your toes. Do a little bit of stretching, yawn, whatever feels good in your body. Just get into that embodied moment. Yes. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So I'd like all of you to know that we love seeing comments. We love seeing questions in the chat. We can address things as we go along. So if something comes up for you and you feel called to share in the chat, please do so. We'd like to make this as interactive as possible. It's not just the three of us speaking. And then again, at the end of the call, when the transmission is complete, Paul will be sharing a beautiful sound healing with all of us, and you'll be welcome to lay down and close your eyes and receive that. And then once we end the recording, we will open the call up for those who are here present in the room for Q&A and networking and just talking with each other. So, all right, so much to share with you. I deeply appreciate you, loving sharing magic with you. Oh, thank you, Donna. Leora, I'm cooking dinner. All right, that's great. Just keep listening. All right, so I want to start with the question, Brielle, Paul, what is intuition to you? What does it mean for you? Like, what? Please explain. Which one of you wants to jump in first?
I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
So the first thing that comes when I think about what really is intuition is I start to take my hand and I put it on my stomach. And there is that sense of it's the gut. It's the gut feeling. It's the intuitive is the best way to describe it for me is it's that inner knowing that helps to guide. And I also feel like it is how it's like the how to how we're channeling different forms of guidance. And I think intuition is the kind of it's what is being manifested from lots of different types of stimulus and both our own guidance and the higher guidance that things like our angels and maybe our guides are sharing with us. And so for me, that's kind of what it is in a nutshell. It's that inner knowing and it's that little voice. And it also can present itself in things like dreams. I feel like there's little messages that come through even things like numbers. Repeating numbers could be intuitive guidance that you're being kind of guided to. And for me, especially, I see animals a lot and I study animal medicine. So there's a symbology and my understanding of the symbology of different animals helps me to understand what is the intuitive message that's seeing that particular animal or that number. And what maybe the deeper meaning is for me and how it can help me to direct myself in a way that's and respond to what's being presented in my life. So that's what it is to me.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Paul, how about for you, dear?
Well, my guidance, Althor, has given me a lot of information. One of the premises of the Diamond Light Network is that the next step in human evolution is a species of humans with awakened hearts. And part of the skill sets that come with that is intuitive awareness, sensitivity to subtle energy on many planes. So intuition is kind of a generic word that's used to describe, a variety of types of etheric communication. And so like Brielle described through the gut, what Althor has told me is there are actually 3 centers through which we do intuitive telepathic communication. The solar plexus, the heart, and the third eye. And those are different modes depending on each person's mode of reception. So some people are clairvoyant, so they see things. Some people are clairaudient, so they hear. Others get what is called spontaneous information, just spontaneous knowing, just, oh, there that is. Ah, okay. The empathetic feeling sense is also a key one. The way I've learned it is intuition specifically is about communication with yourself, with your higher self, with your own energy field, as opposed to telepathic communication, which is about intentional communication with other beings. Again, this is on the etheric, multidimensional plane. So, Western culture teaches us that we have brains. The only way we can communicate is through words and movement. But, part of the work in this phase of humanity is to make intuitive awareness normal and not paranormal. It used to be ESP and paranormal awareness.
Right.
So we want to make this normal because every human has the ability to develop these energetic sensitivities to feeling energy, intuitive communication with their own, higher guidance, their own empathetic field. You know, you can feel into events, you can feel into people. Oh, that doesn't feel right. That feels good. That feels juicy. You know, those are all modes of intuition that are, you know, again, different people receive in different ways. So you have to kind of learn, you know, what is my modality of intuiting?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's a little bit, you know, it's information. And Althor, recently I did a download with Althor where he said, you know, you always want me to give you lots of information. And information is dangerous because having the information in your head without actually embodying and having your channels open for that can be dangerous
Mm.
and delusionary. So, but he gives information that is helpful to help us differentiate, you know, these different modes of etheric communication.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
that's a little bit about how I perceive and have been taught about intuition.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Thank you. Hmm. You know, in the chat here, we have Leora said that I like that Brielle mentioned respond, listen and respond, because it's true. It's about our response to something, but it's our responsibility, right? It's our responsibility to be in tune with our inner guidance system and our
Yeah.
inner compass. So we know what our sacred yes and our sacred no is. Our
Mhm.
sacred no is just as important as our sacred yes.
Mhm.
And so I have found that um, intuition for me is, I'll get into some of the ways like writing and muscle testing and some of the tools that I like to use. But more so for me, it's that really dropping in energetically and listening, really, really listening to my heart, because my mind can scatter off here and there, but the heart knows first. And when I allow myself to follow my heart, I actually get to see signs and synchronicities that I follow, the repeating numbers or literally red flags, don't go this way, you know, and I find that the more that I drop into that and really listen to it, whether it's through writing or muscle testing or any of the tools that I use, that the more I develop it, the deeper the listening becomes. And one of the tools that I like to use is called Synctuition. It's actually an app that you have on your phone and you listen to it, and it's three-dimensional binaural beats in 360 sound. You listen to it on headphones. They're about 22 minutes long, each meditation, and you go deeper into the different levels. And as you do that, it helps you increase your intuition. And I find that it's a really helpful tool for me. I listen to it before I go to bed. I don't do it every night, but that's one of the ways that I can drop deeper into that. I also find that as we awaken more, as our consciousness expands and we awaken more to the light that we're all multidimensional beings. That's what I believe. And we're light condensed down into this physical matter body, this 3D body. And when we awaken to the truth that we're all connected, that we're all one light, all interconnected, all a piece of the cosmic web, then we can take action in new ways that isn't selfish, but selfless. And we come into a place of more selfless service. And the more we do that, the more we tap into our intuitive natures as well. And I believe that we have the five senses in the 3D matrix: sight, taste, touch, hearing, smell. But as we awaken, we actually receive more senses. And I've been told that we have up to 185 different senses. So you suggested clairvoyance, clairaudience, right? All the clairs, right? And the ESP and all the things. And these are extra sensory abilities, but they're actually senses that all of us have.
Right,
It's just a
exactly.
matter of us actually developing them
Yep.
and practicing developing them.
Yep.
And so there's all kinds of tools and books and things that we can use to develop these. So yeah, we can dive into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh,
Althor actually calls them evolutionary skills because as we evolve both individually and collectively, they are skills that come with that evolution. So
yes. Yeah. So it's called Synctuition. I just put it in the chat for you. You can look it up in your app store. It's amazing. So, all right, you two. I wanted to just drop in a little bit further on how are some of the ways, like some of the, like a lesson that you learned. And I have a recent one of how you're like, okay, and I got to listen to my intuition forevermore now. Anybody else, please answer that question in the chat. What is a lesson that really taught you to listen to your intuition and never again question it? And then we'll get into some of the tools we want to share with you. So, Brielle, would you like to start us off with that?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's actually been really interesting in that as I've reflected over the last couple of months since we came up with this topic for this particular mastermind, I believe that when we first came up with the topic, you and I both kind of had this vision of this, the sevens being like this portal,
abundance and good luck. And yeah.
And in fact, we even named this mastermind activations for abundance, right? That's like the subline.
Yeah.
But in the actuality of our lives over the last couple months, as we've been building momentum towards this event, what's really come in for, I think, both of us has been the power of not following your intuition for whatever reason. Usually it's because you're really determined to do something or go somewhere, or be somewhere, or you have it in your mind that you have to, I should this. And when we're given those flashing neon red signs, stop, slow down, dream that's foreshadowing of something, and we don't listen, right? We don't slow down. The power that has of kind of, whoa, blowing up in a way in our lives. And then having that experience of like going, wow, I should have listened. I should have followed that hit. And I shared that because that's really what's come in for me as when I reflect back on many years of my life and spiritual evolution. That is how personally I have learned the lesson of following my intuition, is by having the signs, changing my ways, hearing the guidance that says, okay, today's your last day doing that, or, whatever it was. And then not, falling back into that addiction or that pattern for whatever reason, going back to those high school friends that you used to hang out with when you did that thing that you used to do, that when you went to college, you let go of, right? And you said, I'm free of this, going back to hang out with those same friends that used to be, maybe not the best influence, and falling back into those patterns, even after you've said, I hear you, I'm letting it go, right? And so what I find is that there's sometimes triggers that cause us to kind of revert back to old ways, even after we have acknowledged what is the message in this intuitive hit, and even changed, right? Expanded, evolved past that. And so that's the kind of what I'm really feeling from this topic in terms of how it's actually presented itself as a deep lesson in my life. It's don't make a choice today thinking that choice won't have repercussions 5, 10, 20 years down the road. And I'm saying this, I'm just gonna be really honest, I'm 29. I'm the youngster of this group, and I see that. I see how when I get a hit, to let go, to stop, to go cold turkey, because this is really the last time you can do this safely or not, to really listen to that, especially when it comes with things that are risky behaviors, without going into, there's so many different things that could be considered risky in life. And so, yeah, and to not, especially right now, we have so many additional dangers, unfortunately, because of the modern society that we're living in. And I think that right now, more than any other time in human history, it's important to have a sense of your own self-guidance that's sovereign from even what you might see in TV or on the news, or even what the people that you might even really know and like and trust around you might be saying or doing, or recommending, right? I recently just recovered from a serious sinus and ear infection, and I haven't had one of those in a really long time. And as much as I have always been over the last 10, 15 years, a very much a herbal medicine, alternative medicine seeker, and that's kind of what my go-to is. I got the hit that I needed to go to a doctor this most recent time.
Yeah.
And I listened to that. And I'm grateful to say that I do feel that that was the right choice for me. But I can think of a time in my life where I may have been too stubborn to even listen to that advice, because I am somebody who typically listens to more of the alternative health recommendations. And so that's an example of how listening in my own life has applied really recently to me. And that's kind of why I feel like this is an important topic for all of us at this time. So listen to your guidance. And we are in a way have to be our own best friends on this journey, and kind of have to all become inner warriors in some ways to navigate the challenging landscapes of the evolving new birth.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much, Jenny. I just want to acknowledge that Donna has her hand up, and sweetheart, we're going to keep this transmission as a closed container until we're complete with the sound healing, and then we'll open the call up to those who are in the room. So we'll get to your question. If you want to take a little note or even write it in the chat, and we can maybe acknowledge it, by seeing it in the chat. Okay, sweetheart? All right. Paul, dear, can you tell us a little bit about your journey with intuition, and what was something that may have, helped you develop it further?
Yeah, it's funny as you say that. I just flashed when Brielle was talking about risky behaviors. It's amazing that I survived adolescence, and I realized that I had
all of us.
I had angels watching over me, and it wasn't part of the construct of my East Coast WASP upbringing that one was allowed angels and guides, but I remember one time in particular that flashed where I just really felt like, oh, something told me to do that. So I was out on a camping trip with 4 or 5 buddies of mine. I was probably 15, 16 years old. We were probably smoking weed, drinking beer. We might have even been on LSD, which does enhance, the awareness. But I was lying on my sleeping bag, and all of a sudden this voice just said, move! And I just rolled. And I don't know why I rolled, other than this voice said, just, boo, get out of here. And literally within 3 seconds, one of my buddies had climbed up a tree and was trying to break off a branch put on the fire. And he stepped on this branch, and it literally came right down on the sleeping bag where I had been laying 3 seconds earlier. But what I was aware of is that the voice to move came before the thing fell. And I was like, wow, that, wow, who did that? And I looked around and it's like, okay, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And then I remembered another time, it was a little later, it's when I was living in a spiritual community in Vermont. And this buddy of mine in New York said, "Hey, man, you gotta come. I got this gig in New York. We're gonna play music. It's gonna be amazing." And, in being invited to do a gig in New York is like, New York, New
Yeah.
York. So I really wanted to go do this gig in New York. And when I went out literally to get in my car to drive to New York, the clutch on my car went out.
Mm.
And I pushed and pulled and I called friends to say, "Oh God, I got this gig in New York. I gotta go." And this colleague of mine in the ashram said, "Well, tell me just a minute. You just sit back and listen. What does it mean energetically that the clutch in your car has gone out? What does this mean?"
Mm.
And I immediately said, "Oh, it means I've lost my connection with the power. So the connection between, the drive and the power has gone out."
Right.
And she said, "Oh, yes, that's very good. But I gotta go to New York, And I just ignored it. And I
Yeah.
borrowed a friend's car and I drove to New York. And the thing was just it was a what? It was a total illusion. There wasn't really even a gig. And the event it was at wasn't well promoted. It was just like,
Oh man.
and yeah, I should have listened to my intuition, which is the clutch went out on my car and I lost my connection with true guidance.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
and those are just, part of the
Mm-hmm.
awareness. Again, our generation has opened this up to where we are now, and I
Yeah.
found the next generation is so attuned. Each of our generations, as we solidify and crystallize these new normalities into the collective, that the level of intuition is much higher in this incoming generation. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is true.
all those odd lessons that we've learned are benefiting others. So,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I love that. And honestly too, it's so true. My son is so intuitive. He just turned
yes,
7
yes.
and he is just like spot on. It's actually kind of scary. He's such a like indigo crystal child. And I listen to him. I really
Right.
do. And so I'll give an example now. And I want everybody, if you want to, whoever feels called to share in the chat, what's a moment that really taught you to listen to your intuition? I want to see, or I want to read if you feel called. Yeah. So again, we all have these experiences through our life that helps us go, "Oh, I should have did that. Shoulda, woulda, coulda." Right. Well, we can't should on ourselves. It's like shitting on ourselves. It's not good. Right. And so I always believe that everything happens for a reason. One example was I was at a friend's house. We were there for the weekend. We were about to have ceremony in the living room, and there were glass vases hanging on the wall. And I was like, somebody's going to bump into those, and we should probably take them off the wall. And then I didn't listen to my intuition. No more than a half an hour later, somebody bumped against the wall. Suddenly there's broken glass all over the floor. And we're all like, in our ceremonial garb with bare feet. And somebody had to go and clean it and things like that. Or my child's going to knock something off the table and I go to grab it before he even does it, And so I was just about to go. Well, I'm on a road trip. I'm in Joshua Tree right now on my way home finally. And I was going to Sonic Bloom to teach at Sonic Bloom. And so much of my life has transformed through the lockdowns. And I used to vendor coordinate and vend at events and would go to between 10 and 20 festivals a summer for over a decade. And to finally not do that and be at home and be grounded, so much has happened in my life. My partner's father passed away in a car accident in December. And so we've inherited 2 properties and we just have a lot more responsibilities. And so we've just stayed home. We decided to produce our own events this year. We had a Gemini camp out. We have a boat party coming up, and then we have 11/11 Unified. And the invitation came through to come to teach at Sonic Bloom. And I had never been to Sonic Bloom in Colorado. And I was like, this sounds like fun. I didn't want to go to any other festivals this summer. there was something in the back of my head that's like, are you sure you want to do a festival? I'm like, yeah, I want to do this one. I've never been, you know. And my husband and I, we got a new trailer, and we were really excited because our RV has been dead for a couple of years. And so we bought this new trailer, packed it all up. And while I'm packing it, I'm literally like anxious, and I don't know why. And I'm just like, there's something nagging at me and I don't understand what it is. And we get in the car literally on my birthday. We drive away from our home on my birthday, June 12th. 17 hours later, well, actually 10 hours later, and we stop to take a rest, and we're sleeping in the trailer. And there's this windstorm happening outside. And as I'm falling asleep, the trailer's like swaying like this, right? And I'm falling asleep and I'm hearing the wind and I'm hearing the sand hit the side of the trailer. And then I fell asleep, and in my dream, I was still in the trailer and rocks were hitting the side of it to the point where the trailer tipped over on its side in my dream. Like I dreamt of it. And then I woke up from the dream and it was my turn to drive. And so I started driving, and the map app on my phone where I was going said, avoid high wind danger by taking this 3-hour longer route. And I was like, oh, I need to get where I'm going. I have to be there a certain time because I'm teaching on this date. And it was like, nope. I just kept going on the route. And then it started saying extreme weather danger. I'm like, oh, it's going to be okay. It's totally fine. I mean, like red flag after red flag. And so I'm driving the trailer, and a wind gust hits us when we're passing a semi. It starts to fishtail, then it jackknifes, then the front of the truck goes under the back tires of the semi, and it runs over the front of our truck. This happened 3 weeks ago. And the trailer turned onto its side and skidded out on the freeway to the point where we're facing oncoming traffic. And Andrew, like when it started happening, was like, oh no. And I'm like, okay, oh God, angels, be here now. And I felt this bubble of white light just cover the cab of the truck. And I even now have full body truth bumps. I felt Andrew's father, who had passed in a car accident, fill the truck cab with light and protect us. And Andrew woke up from sleeping, and he's like, no. And Caden slept through the whole thing. He didn't see it happen. And when we finally skidded to a stop, he pulled Cadence out of the car seat, and Cadence is like, what happened? He's looking around. Dad's like, this is what a car accident looks like. And I had to jump out of the car with just my cell phone flashlight and wave at oncoming traffic so they won't hit us. And I'm stopping people and seeing if they have flares. And anyhow, the whole thing happened and unfolded. And I didn't listen to the red flag, blinking red light, no, high wind advisory, stop driving. And I just kept passing forward. And somebody mentioned earlier the ego. And yeah, maybe it was like just the direction of I need to go. And so in the end, what occurred was we had friends come and help us. They bought bins and brought work gloves. They helped us put all our belongings from the junkyard, the truck and the trailer, into a U-Haul truck. We took the U-Haul truck to a friend's house and slept. Then we carried on to Flagstaff. We went to an RV place that only sold trailers, and they had one RV for sale. And we had great credit, thank God. So we bought the RV and we carried on with our trip. And my son was standing there when we were looking at it, and he's like, Mommy, I can tell the future, and we're going to buy this RV and we're going to continue on our trip. Because we were 17 hours into a planned 3-week road trip. And here we are almost a month away now. And so this, again, many lessons, but this was the biggest one. And it happened right before this mastermind, I think, for a reason. And part of the title of the mastermind was Activating Abundance. And I have to tell you, my husband needed a new work truck. The truck we had wasn't working for him anymore. He wanted an RV and not a trailer. And so in the end, we got the RV, and when we get the insurance money, he's going to buy a new work truck. So we ended up we're getting the abundance. The universe is providing family and community that came and helped us. Like we're dealing with some injuries too, but the point is that we still ended up with what we ultimately wanted and needed in our life. It was a really shitty situation to get to it, but we got there. And so the whole time I just kept believing. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. There's got to be a reason for this. And I'm just so grateful to be alive. I feel like we're walking miracles right now. And never again will I question my intuition the way that I did.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And it's good to know that even when we don't follow our intuition, our angels are out there to protect us.
Yeah. And I see, Adina, thank you so much. You were rewarded for your intuition and prayers. Yep. Ego is the opposite of intuition, totally. And the goosebumps we call full body truth bumps. Brielle, I see your note. My audio was not working. I'm so sorry.
Your audio was working. Your video was frozen.
That's fine. As long as you can still hear me.
So we can hear you. Your video was frozen for a bit of that. And if it happens again, I would just try turning your camera on and off, just toggle on and
really
off.
Quick. All right. Just make
that may help it keep talking, but so you can keep going, but toggle your video on and off. That might help. We'll try it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
That was so powerful. I just wanted to hold space for a second and just say, wow. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I think everyone, feels how powerful that story is in the topic of intuition.
Yeah, Dina says, I am here because that night I remember your accident. I also had attacks in the universe from me, or on me, I mean. And it was a full moon night. So it was really intense. And I actually would like to get an astrology reading around that particular night and what was why, Obviously I'm learning why, but thank you for letting me share, everyone. And so I wanted to just presence the time, and we have about 37 more minutes, and we want to make sure that Paul has a good 10 to 15 minutes at the end. And so what we all wanted to do was each of us wanted to share some of the tools in our tool belt for increasing intuition. So if anybody of you feel called to share some of your tools in the chat, please let us know and we'll presence them as well. And Brielle, you mentioned something about maybe doing a card reading tonight. Is that still something you want to do?
Yes, we will be pulling cards. I'm really excited to share some Beyond Lemuria Oracle cards from my dear friend Izzy Ivy. So we'll get to that soon.
Oh, I'm saying let's do it now.
Okay. Well, I wanted to share a couple tools before getting into the reading, but they can be quick. And then I will, if you're ready for the reading, let's do the reading. So that's one way that I, just because we are on the topic of cards, that's one of the biggest ways that I personally tap into intuition and guidance. And I've always recognized that the cards have a way of really helping me see how accurate my intuition really is. I'll be asking, for example, a yes or no question, and I get actually a card that says yes. And so there's always little signs that come through with the reading that help me to really feel how accurate it is. Another practical tool that you don't even need cards or anything to do is a little bit of self-inquiry. When you acknowledge the intuitive hit, asking for a moment and actually just trusting the first answer that comes. So asking, like putting your hand on your heart or your gut or your head, and saying, is this message coming from my ego? Is this message coming from my heart? is this message coming from my guides or guide? If there's one that you're in particular working with, like Paul has his Althor, and asking that additional question instead of just receiving the message, you have the opportunity in that moment to do a little more self-inquiry and and I think that's important because getting a little more context as to where in your body or where, in the subtle realm that message is coming from may be able to provide you with some more insight on how to best use that download, or potentially even acknowledging that if it is your ego, right? Maybe that's not the direction you want to go, or making a better choice. And maybe, okay, if that was my ego intuition coming in, what's my heart saying about this same topic? So that's one tool that I wanted to offer. And I also really like to do writing practices. One that I personally use that's been really powerful for me is monthly vision plan writing. And this one I wanted to bring in for this mastermind because it's actually the one that I feel like is most tied to the topic of activating my abundance. And what I do is I start usually a few days before a new month or at the very beginning of a new month. If a new moon or full moon falls in that time frame, that's also a super potent time to do this work. And it's writing your plan for the month as if it's already happened, right? So we're writing us in a space of gratitude for what we're wanting to create. So if it is a set of 10 new clients, maybe you have a business and you're looking to get new business, I am so grateful for the 10 new clients that manifested into my reality this month. And I'm so excited to work with these beautiful souls on X, Y, and Z. If there's something really specific that you're wanting to work on, even identifying that in a writing practice and trusting what comes. Sometimes when I'm like thinking beforehand, what should I write? It doesn't flow. Just doing the practice, just starting, putting the pen to the paper and just asking and just allowing the flow to flow, but to practice writing as if it was already here and now. So that's the vision plan writing and the self-inquiry. And then my third tool to share is doing a reading. And one way I'm bringing in intuitive guidance and also the numerology aspect of 7722 is I like to play with numbers when I do readings. So this is this is a 56 card deck. And so I think it's interesting because it's a 56 card deck and we're going to cut it 7 times for the 7/7 mastermind. So you even see right in that, like there's something kind of magical and synchronistic and like numerological about the flow of energy. And just, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 3 cards. I'm going to cut 7 times for the first 2 and 4 for 2/2. I'll cut the third time, I'll cut it 4 times. So that's a way of actually charging the deck and kind of intending into the deck that we're working with these specific numbers and we're asking that these numbers help to guide the outcome of the reading. So here's my deck and I'll hold up the cards and I'll read the 3 cards out loud while you guys get to look at them.
Okay.
Wonderful. So I'm going to kind of shuffle a little bit and then I'm going to do my cuts. So first one coming quick. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, wow, this is really powerful and I can tell this is the right card for us. Why? Because when I was showing, so this is our first card. When I was showing Paul and Anastara that these cards, this was the card that I showed. I was like an example. Like,
oh my gosh,
so that's the magic, right?
2 days ago.
How I know the reading's accurate. Because the same exact card that came through that wanted to come through when I was talking about this being a potential thing that I was going to do for this is the card that's still coming through now.
Yeah.
Right? And so these are the kind of things that I'm talking about when I'm talking about intuitive guidance and then following the path of inquiry into feeling that sense of, yes, this is our card. And so this is a beautiful card. Look at the artwork. It's the surrender card. And it says, trusting that we can achieve more by loosening control can take great courage. Sometimes the most constructive way forward is to stop forcing things into being rather than allowing. Inviting and drawing a project into being. The energy here is of frustration, as if you are pushing something heavy up a mountain and gravity or flow doesn't seem to be on your side. Use this awareness as a guide when you start to detour from your path. When control is released, so too is resistance. Loosen your hold on the reins and know the universe will catch you. Trust, let the great mysteries reveal themselves. And I will be posting each one of these cards in my Instagram story, front and back, so you can get you can kind of come back to this later on.
Awesome.
So that's our first card. We're going to go to the second card really quickly.
Loosening control and not forcing.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And just going real fast, just trusting that whatever the card is our card. All right, this is the second card.
Oh gosh, it's gorgeous.
This says soul star chakra, merging with the divine. This image captures the merging of time beyond space and the kaleidoscopic wisdom that penetrates our being. We have lived in many worlds, all interconnected. They uphold the lessons they carry as messages of transformation. Their synergy creates the expansion of the universe. Gaze into the place where the light between our stardust can become anything. And a collective evolution is part of the grander story. When we simply let go, we become all that we have been seeking and glimpse the greater dream. Meditate on the idea that everything that ever was and ever will be is happening simultaneously right now across multiple dimensions. All right, that's our second card.
Yeah.
And then our final card for this evening, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I knew this was the one. I felt this card coming through in this reading, but you saw, I'm just shuffling.
Yeah.
This card has been coming through for me a lot. This card right here represents Mount Shasta.
Oh, yes.
Where Lemuria would be destroyed, its people traveled to other parts of the globe. Mount Shasta was one place they journeyed. There are tales of unusual phenomena and multidimensional beings living inside the mountain. This card is about origins. And the image is the seed crystal this deck is based around. Honor and look more deeply into your ancestry, both your bloodline and your etheric lineage. Do you have an affinity with any star beings? Connecting with them might allow you greater insight into your traits, your strengths, and your challenges. The sacred places you feel attracted to may have an intuitive message for you. And I love that the final line has the word intuitive message for you.
Yes.
In that it's very much, it was intuitively guided to me that this would be one of the cards that we pulled as part of this reading. And it was intuitively guided to me that Mount Shasta is a really powerful place, and it's been really coming to me in a big way. And so I feel, and it's also this card is about what the deck is based around. So kind of all the cards stem from this seed card in a way, energetically.
Love it.
So thank you so much for allowing me the space to share the 3 cards, and I will post them on my Instagram, front and back, Butterfly Brielle. I'll post the link to that in the chat, and you can find it there later. So if you want to refer to these in any way.
Amazing.
So
Thank you, sister.
thank you.
Appreciate you. Yeah. So powerful. So Adina said, how do I find out who my star beings are based on my lineage? And you can find out in a lot of ways simply by asking the question and writing it out. A lot of people discover through free writing and just like channeling and letting it come through and seeing what happens. I recently was introduced to the Lyrians, and I never really knew the word Lyrian. And a friend was sitting in the kitchen with me, and we were talking about, she said, I had a dream about Lyrians. And I'm like, who are the Lyrians? And she started explaining these like lion, feline beings from, from Lyria, from a different star system than the Pleiades. And I said, that feels really resonant for me. And then I had a psychic reading literally 30 minutes later. And my psychic Jesse, he's like, oh, the Lyrians are with you now. They want you to know that you're their family and they're here to help. And so you can have a psychic reading, you can channel by writing or just through discussion with other star family and feel into what your lineage is. So yeah, I'm a cat person. I love the felines. And so that just resonated with me so deeply. Yeah. So, Paul, do you have like a short tool you want to share with us? And then I'll go into my share as you set up your bowls.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, as you have both said, writing, automatic writing is one of
Yeah.
the sort of really beautiful, simple entryways. And the way that I learned it is, you invite connection. You say, dear ones, like you're asking there, and then you can ask a specific question, and then you write, and you don't think about what you're going to write. You just open the channel and just trust what comes through and just write. And I still use this. So with Althor, I have a bunch of blogs and podcasts that are called Messages from Althor. Those mostly come through in writing because that's just the easiest way to keep it recorded. But what I also found is over time, you learn to differentiate the feelings. And again, whether it's coming through the empathic or through the heart center or through the third eye, there's just a sensation of maturing into feeling, oh, okay, there it is. There's the voice. Differentiating, as Braille said, what's ego voice? What's, kind of, synaptic patterning activity? And what is a new information coming in? And that's as it settles, you learn to do that. And then the third is actually the practice that I'll do is we go into the sound work. The root practice that has come through the diamond light work is this heart circuit. And when I just drop into that, and it can take 3-5 seconds to drop into it, it connects me and it plugs me in, and there it is. Time. And one of the ways that they describe, connecting with your magic, they call it embracing the one power. And I've come to feel that. You just embrace, you embody your light, much like we did at the beginning of this session. You just connect, visualize, and it's a way of coming into your higher presence. With the circuitry, you're connected with the grid of light and with your own higher awareness. And it just brings in that sense of, yes, I am now with the light in my heart, and here's what's vibrating.
Yeah.
So that's, and those are evolutionary again. They're starting with simple practices. I used to work with the I Ching a lot, but I find that, I don't really need it that much anymore because the connections, as the sensitivity is developed, the outer tools are less necessary. So those are some of the practices that I use, working with the bowls, working with that practice, working with kind of Qigong energy work every day just keeps me connected. So
Love that.
Um,
Yeah.
And Brielle, I was wondering as we move into the transition, do you have an image of the basic heart circuit that we can show when I get there?
Yeah, I do. One moment.
Okay,
Let me
I
pull that
don't
up.
need it right now, but when we start the bowl session, that'd be great if you could bring it
Yeah,
up.
then she could just share screen with the visual. Awesome.
I
Yeah.
will. Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, those are some of the ongoing practices I use to develop. It is a skill. You know, we're not taught these skills in high school, you know. So learning how to perceive, how to protect yourself. If you're an empath,
Do.
you need to learn how to put up
Yeah.
energy shields
Hmm.
because that's sort of it's sort of the inverse of intuition. It's like how do you
Hmm.
hold out energies that you don't want?
Yes. Hmm.
And these are all evolutionary skills that we need to develop, that we are developing as humans,
Hmm.
as
Hmm.
we come into a more enlightened species that we are
Hmm.
becoming.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
that's my
Indeed.
piece. Thank you.
Thank you. So in the chat, the suggestion is Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I'm not
Yes.
familiar with that yet, but so yeah, I will have to look into that. I've been reading a lot of Barbara Marciniak lately. She's amazing.
Hmm.
So good. And just confirming as a Family of Light member the powers that we do have and developing those skills and those abilities.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you mentioned the shield because this is something on my water bottle, rainbow shield,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
so as we extend that light from our heart, as we did earlier, not only is the vibration, the frequency of love and acceptance and compassion, but it's also the dark forces you shall not
Yep.
pass,
Yep.
right? Jedi cloak of invisibility. We aren't the drones you're looking for.
Yep.
So, okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Marciniak's books, my Bible since the late 90s. I love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I read that in the 90s. And
Uh-huh.
the opening paragraph is, this is preparing you for the future and what you will need. And then I ended up reading it about a year ago. And like, yeah, I read that 30 years ago and here we are.
And here we are. And it's so true. Everything that she wrote, it's happening now. And
Yeah.
it's so poignant and potent
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So, why don't you get set up with your bowls as I
Okay.
share a
I will
couple
do
of my
that.
tools? Remember to
All
mute
right. Good,
yourself.
good.
Love you. And yeah, so as both of them have mentioned, the writing is a big piece for me. When I really started, I'm clairaudient, and so I would get the voice in my head, right? And I'm like, okay, so is it me? Is it my higher self? What's happening? And so I just started writing, and I would write Candace, which is my birth name, and I would write a question, and then I'd write Anastara, and then she would answer, and then I would do it again. Then I'd start writing K and my question, and then A, and she would answer. And then eventually I just stopped writing the questions. I just started channeling and writing from Anastara. And that's the name. It's been with me for 18 years, but I've actually been embodying that name because I feel like it is the name of my higher self, my protector, my guardian angel. And so as I bring in that name in my life and accept it as my own, I feel that I'm more connected to my intuition and my heart. And so I embody Anasara and the teachings and the messages that are meant to come through me as a clear channel for transmissions and my life work and my life purpose and the 1111 codex and how the signs and synchronicities come when we are aware and conscious of those double digit numbers that the universe and the angels are speaking to and through us. And so that has been a huge piece for me. Also, muscle testing. If you're talking about a practical thing, like I have this yerba mate that I've been drinking, right? And it's the stees because it's stevia sweetened. And so you just hold something. You can be in the middle of a store and you can say, you can first not hold it and just say, what is my yes? And see what happens. You can do it with the pendulum, you can do it with your body. And usually my yes is a lean forward, like a little rocking forward. And then you say, what is my no? And sometimes it's a lean back or it's a circle to the right. And the no is a circle to the left. Everybody does it differently. Sometimes people's head will nod, right? And so You pick up the item, whatever it is, whether it's a drink or supplements or vitamins or even a food, and you just say, is this for me at this time? You want to say right now, because something could be not for you right now, but in a week later you'll need it, or vice versa. You used to need it, but you never took it, right? And so you want to say, is this for me right now? And so your body will say yes or no. So that's another way to practice intuition. And you can totally use that in relationships and people, and just, is this person for me right now? Like, do I really need to be in relation with this person, or do I need to surrender and release? So yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm going to try the on off video, see if that works. Okay.
Yeah,
Here.
for me, the yes is a breath. If I
A
get
breath.
and the no is usually like a swallow, a contraction in
Yeah.
my throat chakra, like
Yeah. 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 You can literally feel it in your body, right?
Yeah.
So a no is, for me, is really constricting. And so that's something to be aware of. Like when I was setting up and filling the trailer, I was going so that we can leave on time, but there was a constricting feeling happening within me. So there's something to be aware of. Excuse me. And again, this intuition is amazing. And also just being in conversation with our starry family. So if something happens and they're like, I just kind of had that feeling, then them being in conversation with you, they can reflect to you what it was that maybe you could have done differently, or what to be aware of next time, by sharing your story of what happened with them. So a lot of us are going through similar things, similar challenges, similar difficulties in our lives. And we're here to help love and support one another through these times, because it's so important for us to have our community and our family around us to support the fact that we want to follow our heart. Turn the media off, turn the TV. I don't even own a television. Like, I don't watch the news. I listen to my heart and where my life takes me, rather than what the media and other people tell me I should be doing with my life. So that's been a huge thing for me in the last 2 years during the lockdown, is really just dropping into, is this right for me? I don't think so. My family and I are going to stay on this path. So yeah. Awesome. Well, Paul, I am so happy to have you here. Brielle and I are going to mute ourselves, and let's look at the time here. How about we do 11 minutes and 11 seconds?
Okay.
12 minutes wiggle room. So everybody,
I had one other thought that was just a reminder.
Yeah.
The first time that I became aware of automatic writing was I was in college. I wrote my thesis on the poet William Butler Yeats, and he was a student of Blavatsky and a mystic. But he wrote this book called A Vision, which is this amazing explanation of the cycles of the universe, turning in 2,000 years and 27,000 years, interweaving. But he writes actually that it was all channeled, and actually his wife who did it through this process of automatic writing. And I was a college student. It's like, well, that's weird. This is not literary analysis, but I was all of a sudden aware, oh wow, here's a great poet who's acknowledging that actually he was doing and receiving from these other dimensions and some of his most brilliant writing. So, all right. So, yeah, we're going to go into a vibrational transmission. This is a beautiful set of Tibetan bowls here, very pure sound that resonate the heart center, resonate the light in our hearts, the Vajra light. And I'll be doing some Vajrayana chanting. And this image that Brielle is showing here, so this is the heart circuit. That is the core image that has come to me through this diamond light work. And in the center of the chest here, you see an orb of light. and we visualize the heart. We call it the pearl of light. So you can take a moment and just feel in your heart that orb of light. And it is connected through this circuitry down to the heart of the earth, up into the stars through the crown chakra, and then out horizontally into the four directions, connecting into the matrix of light, the grid of light, the tapestry of creation. So just taking a moment to close your eyes, bring your hands to your heart, visualizing your heart connected in. And with that comes the sensitivity to your intuitive connections, connection with your heart wisdom, connection with the earth, connection with your evolutionary potential of who you are becoming in this life. Letting yourself receive the vibration of the bowls and the chanting.
Feeling that diamond white light in your heart. Come back into this present here and now. Feel your body. Begin to wiggle your toes, your fingers. Maybe stretch a little. A little bit of tapping. The top of the head, shoulders, chest, and face. Just pat yourself for a moment. Bring the energy down. Maybe placing your hand somewhere on your body that hurts. You send that light, that sound frequency we just received to the places that you need it most. So delightful. So today, thank you so much, Paul. And I wanted to presence too, 7-7 portal. The number 7 is wise. It asks deeper questions, listening and sensing that there is always more than what's on the surface. It understands that there is a deeper meaning and connection, and instills a great sense of spirituality. The right path to success and fulfillment is guided by our intuition, that gut feeling, the butterflies in our stomach, the full body truth bumps. It is crucial to cultivate practices that increase our intuition so that we can have full faith in our ability to know what is aligned for ourselves. When we truly follow our inner guidance and tap into the diamond light of our hearts, we are connecting even deeper with our higher self and source. This in turn brings us into a greater state of coherence that will ultimately upshift our frequency, expand our consciousness, and bring us closer to spiritual enlightenment. The number 7-7 is a message that we are in alignment with our higher purpose. It embodies wisdom, intuition, spiritual awakening, and psychic energy. And 7 + 7 + 2 + 2 is 18. And that number symbolizes independence, philanthropy, humanitarianism, and the underlying essence of which is the welfare of all of humanity. And so, family, we thank you for being here with us on this 7-7 portal day. And I just want a presence that I really felt Celestine Star with us in that moment when we were playing the sound healing. I just, oh my gosh, she's just been around me in so many ways, and our family. She's here to assist in humanity's awakening from the other side. And I wanted to take a moment again to share, those who weren't on the beginning of the call before we started the recording, that the 5522 Mastermind that Celestine Star was a presenter for, we have now made it public on the YouTube channel. So it's Anastara 1111 on YouTube. Brielle, maybe you could put the link in the chat, and we'll put it in the comments if we do share this publicly as well. But that particular video, if you go to the YouTube channel and you choose to watch it, you can click on the PayPal button and donate and put the word Celestine in your donation note. And we will be sharing those donations with Lysandra, Celestine's only daughter. So that is our gift to her in this moment of, assisting her through this transition. So how is everybody feeling after that? You can add that to the chat. I'd love to see some. That was amazing, Paul. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. We got some happy faces with some heart eyes. Very serene, lovely. Okay.
Thank you.
So beautiful. So I'd like for each of you to just take a moment and wrap up with a final thought, like 1 to 2 minutes each. And how can people get a hold of you?
Thank you, Paul. That was so juicy. It was so nice to just stop the motion for me. I've been driving in the car for 2 days now. And so I peeked my eyes open for a few seconds and I saw Anastar kind of like moving and really flowing, like doing more movement. And I was like, okay, well, but what's my intuition saying? And I was like fully stopped and still. And I think it's just because I've been in so much motion lately that just being still, tuning into that stillness, and deep listening, right? That deep listening really is so powerful as a way of transforming our understanding about the world around us and helping to guide us. You can find me online everywhere. I will put some links in the comments below. I am currently in the process of a major metamorphosis, and I think that's a great thing to share just because that is definitely the energy that I feel that I help to people work within their businesses, within their personal lives, both in my spiritual coaching and oracle card reading work as Butterfly Brielle, as well as in my marketing and event consulting business, Manifestation Media. I have been working with entrepreneurs, visionary entrepreneurs that I feel are really aligned in their teachings and helping to birth the new earth in my Manifestation Media business for now 6 years. And that business is really something that I feel very much is my soul path and my soul calling. And it is also a business. And so I will say that I do take discovery calls, and I take discovery calls both for my spiritual work and my business work in the same place. So if you check out the link that I'm going to post here in the comments, you got the link to my link tree. In my link tree, you can find a discovery call link, and that is the best way to explore the possibility of working with me. I do like to really get to know my clients and have a very specific onboarding process. And so the first step is to do a discovery call. You can explore more about Manifestation Media and my marketing business through the second link there. And on my link tree, you can find lots of other links to things. I have a special free offer at the very bottom. If you scroll to the very bottom of my link tree, my 7 sacred tools for harmonizing with the frequencies of New Earth presentation. It's a PDF you can scroll through. It's my free offering. And if you use that link to sign up. You get onto my email list. So that's how you can kind of keep in touch with me moving into the future. And I look forward to this year's 11/11. Thank you so much for marking your calendars and planning to come, because that's really my next big mission, is to get this year's 11/11 dialed in and make sure it is a super awesome, wild hybrid success this year. We're really excited to be able to finally, after 2 years of doing a fully virtual event, to offer some sort of in-person experience, and that details on that are incoming. So thank you so much, Anastara, Paul. Wow, I love that I got that opportunity to spend this portal day with both of you.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the cards, I will put the cards in my story.
Yeah.
So, and I do like to put like cards of the day in my Instagram story. So if you're looking for other guidance, you might want to follow me on Instagram. Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, honey. Paul, dear.
Whew. You know, what I'm getting is a reminder that we haven't really talked about is, what is your creative passion? Because that's where flow, you know, and the primordial creative force of the universe moves through us as humans, is through our creative passion. Whether that's through music and bowls, or through drawing, or through writing, or through dance, those are the places where we drop into deep flow with the universal life force. And that is where, you know, as William Butler Yeats said, how can you tell the dancer from the dance, the dreamer from the dreamed? You know, we are the dreamed, and we are dreaming the dream. And that is intuition. That is allowing the creative mind, the creative force to move through us, because it is through us that light sings, that light creates, that we are creating life on earth. And so intuition is just sort of a way of awakening to that through this evolutionary process that humanity is going through. So yeah, find your passion, let it dance, let it flow. As to getting connected, I think Brielle probably has my link tree, which she actually created for me.
I dropped it into the chat. It's in
Great.
there.
But I have Facebook group for Diamond Light Network. There is a Radiance Matrix page. There are also websites for each of those. Radiance Matrix is the music sound project. Diamond Light Network is the vehicle through which these teachings of learning about the next step in human evolution as awakening of the human heart is about. And they're closely interwoven. Obviously, the sound is part of the Diamond Light work. And so yes, please, you can join the email list. You can join those pages on Facebook, also on Instagram, all those things. And I'm going to start again in August doing weekly free live streams on Facebook. It's on Facebook, YouTube, it's on a whole bunch of places. I've been taking some months off, but starting in August, I'll start doing that. And then I also do some paid Zoom events, which are deeper transmissions, vibrational clearings, ancestral clearings, all kinds of work to help us connect into our beautiful web of light.
Awesome. Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's such an honor to have both of you here. I'm so deeply blessed and filled with gratitude right now for both of you in my life. Yeah. And for those of you who came about not through the Eventbrite, if you feel inclined to share a donation to the nonprofit, we are operating as a nonprofit, Transdimensional Illumination. We are co-creating multi-dimensional experiences for humanity's awakening. And 11/11 Unified, as she mentioned before, is going to be hybrid this year. So we will have some folks live at the new retreat center, Joy Oasis in Occidental, California, as well as the virtual aspect. You can go to 1111unified.com. And if you go up to the top and you actually join the email list, you'll receive an email, our welcome email with the 1111 Codex Awakening Codes for our New Birth video. It's a presentation that Brielle and I just created for the Portal to Ascension conference that I taught at. And then we refilmed it because we just wanted to add more juiciness. So you would get that as your free gift for joining the email list. I also love mentoring awakening women, transformational mentoring. And you can find me at anastara.com to book a discovery call with me. So that is how you find us. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And we're going to open it up to the Q&A for the people who did join the mastermind. For those of you who might be watching this on a recording, we hope to see you at our next one. And Brielle and I are in the works of like what to do next, but I'm thinking that the next mastermind starting in August on 8/8 will be the path to 1111 unified, right? And so bringing in a lot of our new presenters and speakers that we'll be having this year and introducing them. So I'm looking forward to that. We have several people jumping on board already. If you are interested in co-creating with us, then just go ahead and shoot me an email, anastara1111@yahoo.com. All right, family, have a beautiful portal day. We're going to end the recording, so say goodbye to those who are seeing the recording and jump into our networking with those who joined us live.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Mwah. Have a great day. Blessed be.